I was stunned when I bumped into an old friend, and he casually said, "At that last partner swapping party, your wife was a star. I didn't know you were into that, too." The thing is, I wasn't. Not even close. But that was the moment everything changed. The sentence that cracked open a reality I hadn't even begun to suspect. It happened at a car wash. I ran into Ben, someone I hadn't seen in nearly 6 years. Back in college, we'd been inseparable, late-night pizza runs, hangovers, and long talks about the future. He looked different now, heavier with a beard, but his grin was the same when he recognized me. "Jake, no way, man." We caught up quickly, jobs, mutual friends, how we both got boring after 30. Then out of nowhere, he dropped that bomb. His tone was light, like he was just making conversation. But my laugh died in my throat when I realized he wasn't joking. He nodded, smiling. "She said it was your idea to stay anonymous. I didn't know you two were in the scene." I didn't answer. Couldn't. Because in that instant, I understood two things. One, he was completely serious, and two, I'd been living with a stranger. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't scream or demand answers. When someone betrays you that deeply, reacting emotionally gives them something to work with. I needed her to believe I was still in the dark. So I stayed quiet, calculating. While she was in the shower, I sat on our bed staring at her phone charger, like it might give me answers. What else had I missed? Over the next 2 weeks, I dug. I played dumb while I unraveled everything. Her laptop was my first stop. Left out in the open like she didn't think I'd ever look. She was right. Until now, in her downloads folder, I found documents, event guidelines, guest lists, even consent forms. One name came up again and again, always next to hers. Wife of Jake, but always marked not attending. I hadn't even known these parties existed, and she was using me as her alibi. I checked her messaging app next. Signal, encrypted of course. But she'd made a mistake. Her laptop had desktop notifications enabled. While I scrolled through her search history, a message flashed on screen. "Can't wait to see you again. You're a goddess." That opened a thread. Dozens of messages, men, women, compliments, plans, photos. It had been going on for at least a year, maybe longer. And in every chat, she used my name as a safety net. He prefers to stay private. He's not into the public stuff. Jake knows, but wants his distance. What she meant was Jake's in the dark, and I planned to keep him there. It was like I didn't exist. No, worse. I was a prop in her story. A silent husband she used for credibility, like a fake ID to get past security. I was the name that gave her permission to lie. That's when I decided this wouldn't be a confrontation. It would be a collapse. Not just exposure, but erasure. I didn't want to yell or fight. I wanted to take away her mask and leave her standing alone when it dropped. So I started watching. She became my subject. Quiet surveillance. Nothing loud, nothing risky. She'd use an old Android backup app once, still tied to our shared Google account. She never thought to remove it. Within an hour, I had access to everything. Messages, events, hidden photos, things she thought were safe. I saw her world unfold. Hotel rooms I'd never visited. People I didn't know. Clothes I'd never seen her wear. She smiled in every picture like she was alive there in ways she wasn't at home. Like I wasn't her partner. I was just a man on paper. I traced her steps. Her writing retreats and girls' weekends aligned perfectly with these events. 8 parties. Not 1, 8. And in every guest list, I was mentioned, always supportive, always invisible. Emails even claimed I was cool with it. I wasn't, but I would act like I was because calmness, I realized, was a weapon. That week, I pretended to reconnect. I told her I'd been distant and wanted to work on our intimacy. She cried. She hugged me like she meant it, said she was relieved. She had no idea I was getting messages on her second phone, the one she thought no one knew about, calling her midnight addiction. I kissed her while reading another man's words. She whispered in bed, "Thank you for being my anchor." I smiled because anchors don't just hold things steady. They sink them. I compiled everything: photos, screenshots, chat logs, GPS records, voice memos. Then I divided the proof into 3 packages. One for her closest friends and family, one for HR and her workplace's internal culture committee, and one for the lifestyle community that had welcomed her on the basis of falsehoods. Each set of evidence tailored to show a different side of her deception. I didn't just want her exposed, I wanted her isolated. It started with an email, anonymous, untraceable. Subject line, you should know who she really is. Inside, a PDF. Her messages, her event profiles, a timeline of her retreats synced with hotel stays, explicit texts, photos she never meant for anyone outside that world to see. People she never thought would know we're about to. I sent it to her sister, her parents, and her 3 closest friends. Then I waited. Within hours, the silence around her shifted. She was sitting across from me at the table, sipping coffee, scrolling Instagram, smiling like nothing had changed. But her sister had left a voicemail. One I heard through a cloud recording I planned on her phone the day before. You lied to all of us, Claire. This is next level. And using Jake like that, I'm disgusted. Her mother didn't say a word, just removed her from the family group chat. By lunch, one of her friends posted a cryptic quote about people who hide betrayal behind honesty. Around 3 p.m., she finally looked up from her phone. Something weird's going on, she said. Everyone's being cold. I looked at her and said, maybe they found out who you really are. She laughed. She thought I was joking. She wouldn't be laughing much longer. For a long time, the next wave of her professional downfall was quietly building. She worked in community engagement for a large nonprofit, an industry that depends heavily on trust, ethics, and public perception. I sent Human Resources a revised packet, one without the explicit material but packed with evidence of deception and time theft. They got back to me within 2 days. We are currently reviewing internal ethics concerns and suspending all external representation until further notice, they wrote. That's corporate code for you're toxic now. She came home that evening looking pale. Something's going on at work, she said. I was folding laundry. Yeah, I replied. Consequences. The final domino had tipped. Her secret world, the so-called lifestyle community, operated on strict values, consent, honesty, openness. When I forwarded the moderators her chats, especially the part where she wrote, Jake doesn't need to know everything, their reply came quickly. She was banned, not just suspended, blacklisted from every related group and event. Her access revoked, her reputation erased. She emailed them. No one answered. That night, she sat on the couch in total silence, staring at her phone. I don't understand. Everyone's cutting me off. I leaned against the wall. Because I told them the truth, the whole truth, not the version you like to hide behind. Her eyes welled with tears. Jake, what did you do? Nothing more than you earned. She tried to reply. But I stopped her. You used me, lied in my name, slept your way through some fantasy life while pretending I wasn't on it. I never meant to hurt you. You didn't just hurt me. You erased me. She had nothing to say because there was nothing. Everything she had carefully built was now in ashes, and I never once raised my voice. A week later, Claire moved into her sister's guest room. No goodbyes. No dramatic scene. She just packed her things in silence and left. I stood in the hallway and watched her load up the car. One suitcase, a storage bin, and a small box labeled essentials. The smallest move-out I'd ever witnessed. Her curated online life? Gone. She deleted her Instagram, but not before I saw the comments. Disappointed in who you became. You use your husband like a prop. You can't preach honesty while lying to everyone. Then, poof, her profile vanished. The carefully constructed image of a sex-positive, emotionally evolved, radically honest woman shattered, not just unfollowed, discredited. And in her world, credibility is everything. Her career took a hit too. She wasn't fired, but she was reassigned from community engagement to quiet admin work. No more public-facing roles, no more panels, just quietly hidden. The kind of exile a company gives someone they can't afford to terminate but no longer trust. A friend told me her new boss said, "Keep her off anything public. She's not clean enough to represent us." That stung more than anything I could have said to her directly. And the lovers she thought would stay? Gone. Claire assumed her backup plan would be enough. That if I left, she'd still have them, the ones who called her goddess and wildflower and queen. But once the truth surfaced, they vanished. Some blocked her, others ghosted. One messaged her directly, "You lied about your husband. That's unethical. You're not safe." She wasn't just cut off. She was labeled a threat in a community built on transparency. She became the cautionary tale. As for me, I didn't feel angry anymore. I didn't need to argue my case. I didn't post revenge porn or make dramatic declarations. I let the facts speak for themselves. I kept the house, kept my job, kept my sanity. I started therapy, not because I was broken, but because I refused to carry her damage into my next chapter. And every night I slept alone, but I slept peacefully because no one was lying beside me anymore. People think revenge feels like rage, loud, chaotic, fiery. But real revenge? It's silent. It's the stillness after the blaze. It's what happens when someone's forced to sit with nothing but their own reflection, stripped of the mask. That's where Claire is now. No audience, no applause, just herself, a mirror, and the wreckage of what she thought she could control. What I reclaimed was simple but powerful. She used my name as a prop, told people I was supportive and informed, that I agreed with her lifestyle. But I wasn't private. I was unaware. I didn't consent. I was being used. And once I saw it clearly, I stopped mourning and started reclaiming my dignity, my story, and my voice. Love is not covering for someone who's actively erasing you. Love is knowing when to stop giving them the pen. If you're watching this and something in your gut feels off, listen. If you're constantly made to feel needy or insecure just for wanting honesty, clarity, or respect, you're not the problem. You're probably being lied to, manipulated, played. It's not your job to wait around for the truth. It's your job to build your exit, calmly, quietly, effectively. Because when someone betrays you and uses your loyalty to shield their lie, the most devastating response isn't screaming. It's showing them the truth and walking away while it burns everything they built. I never screamed, never told her friends to pick a side. I just let the truth speak. And now, she walks alone in the mess she created, without her mask. And me, I walk in peace. Not because I won, but because I didn't let her take me down with her. If you believe this revenge was justified, hit like, subscribe, and share this story. We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. For more shocking, real stories of betrayal and retribution, stick with us. Every like, every share, every subscriber helps keep these stories alive. Thanks for being part of Lauren's story. Because every betrayal casts a shadow and every lie eventually echoes.